So most of you guys already know this, but Ye decided to drop a song called Cousins. And in the song called Cousins, Ye admits to something that none of us were expecting or knew. And I'm going to play you what he admitted.
That's when I gave my cousin head, gave my cousin head, gave my cousin head, I gave my cousin head.
Kind of wild, right? So Ye admits in that particular song that goes on a bit longer that when he was, I think 14 or something, no, when he was 6, I don't know, 8, I don't know what age it was, but he was very young, and him and his cousin engaged in some fornication, some fellatio, some fooling around as they were trying to discover themselves sexually and shit. Some people are saying this is the reason why maybe Ye is hypersexual and all this malarkey. Me personally, what do I think of this whole shebang? My initial reaction when this dropped is that I don't care. And I kind of got angry at the fact that he said this and it was forced down my throat. Pause, not paused. Or I saw it on the timeline. Because I felt like I was being told this by force. Like I felt like I had no choice but to know this because my entire timeline was talking about it. And I really take umbrage with the fact that for whatever reason, I love Ye, honestly do. He's my fucking goat. But he refuses to get any help. He refuses to go and get any help. He refuses to use his resources, his wealth, his connections, his whatever, to go and address the problems that he clearly has. We already know from past issues that he may have bipolar issues, he may be autistic, he may be this, he may be that, depression this, who knows, right? But he has really gone out of his way to avoid seeking professional help to deal with these issues. And instead, he kind of tries to get help or tries to work through his problems via posts and rambles and whatever else on social media. Most of it kind of looks like attention seeking, but given what he confessed on his song, I'd understand if you want to look at it through the lens of like, oh, it's a cry for help. Me personally, whether it's a cry for help, whether it's an attention seeking thing, I don't care. All I want to focus on when it comes to Ye is the clothes, the music, and the sneakers and the activations and stuff. I don't care about his personal life. I refuse to get involved and take part and engage with or seriously deliberate anything happening between him and Kim Kardashian. I also think that's none of my business. I refuse to get involved when it comes with anything to do with his kids. That's none of my business. And anything else to do with him interpersonal relationships. I don't give a fuck. Is it disappointing and heartbreaking to read Ye disparaging someone like a Virgil and saying fuck him after his passing? Yes, it is. And it breaks my heart because I was a big fan of Virgil. I looked up to Virgil. I got a chance to work with Virgil for a very short time. And to see somebody that I adore like Ye, you know, besmirching and disrespecting and putting Sully on someone's name like Virgil since he's passing is really heartbreaking. But I also understand he had a personal relationship with Virgil that I would never know or never be privy to, and none of us will. So if he wants to say fuck Virgil, let him say it. But I refuse to take part and engage in it seriously because he's clearly going through his issues. It's just that we're being forced to kind of engage with this stuff seriously and also forget all of the antics that happened prior to this, you know? It's just a constant barrage of things that you're having to kind of rummage and kind of make sense of in your head. So I understand why he said it, but it's just like after everything you said in the past, it's like, are you doing this now to get people on your side? Because for the longest time, he's been going out of his way to push people away from him, saying the most crazy, outlandish things, trying to be as hurtful and as mean and as evil as possible to push everyone away from him, right? And now suddenly he wants to open up and be vulnerable because he knows as well, he's not a dumb guy. He knows if he says this type of stuff, people are going to have sympathy for him. They're going to have empathy. They're going to have more understanding. They're not going to be as harsh. They won't want to cancel him as much. And it's just like, are you doing this to really share and to kind of pour your soul out because it's something that's been eating away at you? Or are you doing this to kind of curry favor with people who have maybe said fuck you forever and you're feeling it and you don't want to be alone? Because something about Ye as well, like for all the fucking bravado in the chat, he, as much as he tries to act like he doesn't care about anybody and he's his own man, I do what I want, I say what I want, you can tell he's lonely. You can tell he wants people around. You can tell he wants friends. You can tell he wants to be on the good side of people. And I think some of the stuff he's been doing lately, yes, it's okay to piss off people that are never believers, that are never fans, but I think he was starting to realize that his actual hardcore day ones, the stands that used to like try to always, you know, over explain or psychoanalyze or, you know, whatever else it may be, or make sense of all the stuff that he said, rants and shit, were now being turned away. So I wonder if that's kind of a reason why he's now decided to kind of like open up and be like, hey, I'm going to be vulnerable and share this really kind of horrifying thing that happened to me. And yeah, fair enough. Share it. It's all well and good. Happy you fucking shared it. It's really no surprise that of us have been paying attention, because somebody like EA, who's as sexually promiscuous, who's that fucking active, who's that ready, that on charge, most likely has other kinks outside of just regular sex. You know, this guy gets down, he gets into it. And from time he was sharing certain things on the timeline, and also, I don't know, my interest I think got piqued on my thinking of like, okay, yeah, he's a party boy without maybe the drugs, maybe the nitrous, but it doesn't strike me as a heavy drug user and shit, or a drinker. But I think he's a party boy in that pure, which I think is way more sadistic and way more psychotic. I think if you're somebody that's like into the kink stuff with no fucking chem sex stuff, with no adult vitamins, with no booze, and you just go into it straight for the straight sober hedonistic vibes, you are unhinged. You are unhinged if you can do that stuff. If you can go to like Club Verboten, right? If you can go to fucking Pornceptual, if you can go to Kit Kat, if you can go to fucking whatever these places are, and just on straight vibes alone of just like getting into the action with no gear, no booze, you are crazy, but I admire you. You're crazy, but I admire you. But I knew Ye was on that time from that story. Remember that story that leaked? Or not story that leaked. I think he said it. The story about him being in a meeting with that Adidas person and him standing there. No, sorry, there's a video of it. Ye recorded a video of him taking a meeting with some Adidas executives when he was still with Adidas with Yeezy, and he was showing these guys porn on his phone. And the reason why he was showing them porn was because one lady in the clip looked like somebody that worked at Adidas head office. Fucking wild, by the way. Think about the trouble. Think about the trouble you would get in, dear listener, at your workplace if you showed somebody at work a porn video by force. And then think about how much more trouble you'd get in if you showed them that said porn video by force because you thought somebody in that video reminded you of the receptionist, reminded you of the PA, reminded you of the head of HR, reminded you of your line manager. Imagine the trouble you'd get in. So Ye did that and I thought, okay, cool. That's some cucky behavior. That's steering into cuckland. And once you get into cuckland, you're a real gooner. There's one thing watching porn, but once you start getting into the cucky stuff, you're a real gooner. Like, you're really like in that mode of like having your little goon room and going fucking wild. So I'm not surprised that, you know, Ye may have done the following.
That's when I gave my cousin head, gave my cousin head, gave my cousin head, I gave my cousin head.
But this is also proof to me in hip hop, because I've seen the reaction to it be quite mild. I've not seen a lot of hip hop artists like come out and call call Ye the FAG word. No one's really said that. No one's really come out and besmirched him. I think in general it kind of proves that if you're talented, if you make great music, no one really gives a shit. Even in like super machismo, somewhat homophobic black hip hop circles, people will turn a blind eye if they know you make the fucking, if you know, when it comes to production, you're elite level. When it comes to constructing songs, putting together albums, rollouts, whatever activations, shows, they know you're that guy. Because allegedly, I saw some rumors on the timeline about this show that Ye's gonna do in Korea, I think, or Japan, one of those places. And allegedly, the show is meant to be fucking phenomenal. He's also gonna launch Yeezy again. So it's kind of crazy. So you can understand why people will turn a blind eye to him confessing this. I think if it's any other artist, you're probably going to get called the FAG word and whatever else it may be. And, you know, maybe other derogatory words and insults. But when you're Ye, people are going to turn a blind eye because you're a fucking genius. Obviously. That makes complete sense. But the lyrics are kind of wild. And I was reading through them and obviously listening to the song and watching the video. And I came away thinking to myself, as much as I don't care, because he's been annoying me in general, yeah, with these antics, I just want to focus on the music and the art and the fucking fashion and the sneakers. Please relaunch fucking Yeezy.com. I also come away from it thinking, this might be the best song he's dropped. And it's kind of heartbreaking because this is also proof why fans like myself and other toxic fans are really excited when like your favorite rapper, your favorite R&B singer goes through a crazy breakup or gets cheated on or goes to prison or is involved in some sort of, you know, fight or whatever. Because you know the song they're gonna drop after is gonna be fucking crazy. Like, I don't think anybody in the history of rap has missed when it comes to First Day Out records, right? First Day Out records are always, I still listen to the Gucci Mane First Day Out record. That record is fucking phenomenal. Gunna had an amazing First Day Out record, even though he did what he did. So I think a lot of pain, a lot of strife, a lot of struggle can unfortunately be the real inspiration and can really kind of level up people's art. It's really sad to say that, but that's the case because, you know, I've been listening to a lot of Ye. I'm a big fan of his, and I can say categorically, given his last previous projects, this might be the best song he's ever put out in the last few years. This is so good. The video, the vibe, the crooning, everything about it is fucking phenomenal. But the lyrics are something. The lyrics are something. Courtesy of Genius, you scroll down here and it says, the first verse, hanging with my cousin, reading dirty magazines. We've seen some niggas kissing. We ain't know what that shit mean. Then we start reenacting everything that we had seen. That's when I gave my cousin head. Gave my cousin head. Gave my cousin head. I gave my cousin head. I gave my cousin head. Now, analyzing this is quite interesting because I'm not sure about you, dear listeners, but it was only recently, and I've got to admit this, and even me, I'm embarrassed to say this because I think I'm quite progressive and I think I'm quite open-minded, and I'm also, you know, heavily, you know, an ally of the LGBTQ plus folk, and I attend a lot of queer, gay kind of events and clubs nights and stuff. So I'm quite familiar with, you know, this group of people and what they get up to. And I have to be honest and admit, there was only a few years ago that I found out, watching videos and seeing stuff on Twitter, that gay guys don't just do don't just doggy, you know? I didn't know that was a thing. Maybe some of you guys did because you're more progressive and more open-minded and way more experienced sexually than I am. But I'm not afraid to admit that I didn't know that gay guys do more than just doggy each other, because I saw a clip on YouTube. Oh, not YouTube. On Twitter, and I was like, oh shit! Like, I didn't know they have intercourse that way too. Like, in like quote unquote heteronormative positions. I was so surprised. I was like, shit. So it only recently, but I've also been watching porn, you know, maybe since I was a teenager. But I only found out about the gay guys doing more than doggy in the recent years. So it's interesting to me that Ye would be watching porn or reading dirty magazine with his brother, but the first thing he saw was gay porn. I'm not gonna lie. When I first started watching porn, the first thing I seeked out wasn't gay porn. I think it's probably a marker of if you're gay or not, right? Probably a good indication of where you swing is the type of stuff that you look for to kind of get yourself off. That kind of give you a good idea about your kinks or whatever it may be. One of my first searches wasn't gay porn. It was just regular porn. You know what I mean? Regular porn. It was just porn in the heterosexual way. So it's kind of interesting that Ye would say he's reading dirty magazines and the first thing that he saw was gay stuff. It's like, huh? Why would you have seen that? Did your dad have gay magazines? Were you specifically seeking out gay stuff? I wonder what. But it's also interesting because I heard people say, which is also funny. I've heard some people say on the timeline that they're not surprised because Ye has too much good taste. His taste is too good to be straight, which I don't get personally because I think I've got pretty good taste. I'm into fashion. I'm into art. I'm into furniture. I'm into design in general. I listen to pop music, right? I'd go to nightclubs and take my top off and stuff and dance and twirl around. But I'm not gay. So I wonder if that's possible. Can you be elite level and have really great taste in art and design and also not be gay? Or does being gay also entail that you'll have great taste because it means you're going to be a bit more open-minded? You might be in touch with more of your, dare I say, feminine side that might allow you to be a bit more softer, that might allow your sensibilities to be a little bit more attuned and to not be so brutish and shit. I don't know. But I saw that somewhere. I was like, I take offense to that. I think there's plenty of straight guys that have great taste that don't get down on their knees and suck guys' dicks. I think so. I don't think it's across the board that you have to be a gay guy to have great taste. I don't think that's true. I think I could definitely be a runway designer or have a ready-to-wear brand that was only for women and design fashion, you know, quintessential capital F fashion clothes and also be straight. I think that's perfectly possible, but I could be wrong. It continues. It says, and I know these niggas about to judge me now. I started off when we was hanging out. Started off when we hang. Told my cousin not to tell nobody. Please no, don't tell nobody. People tell me to take it to my grave. Truth will set you free someday. I don't think they understand that I'm not attracted to a man. They thought I was gay. Yeah, that's the Playboy Carti lyric. So that's an interesting thing to say, right? I wonder if that's an insecurity. Is that insecurity? Why are you so why are you so, like, why does he care about emphasizing that he's not gay? Surely, like, I don't know, like, let's say, like, if you had to say what is gay and what isn't gay, I think one thing that you could say that isn't gay is like hugging another man, holding hands with another man, even interlocking, probably not gay. Kissing another man, you could argue kissing another man, depending on the context, it could be like some banter thing. I've seen a clip of Bobby Lee and Logan Paul kissing recently. I don't think they're gay. I know Bobby Lee's done some gay stuff. I don't think Logan Paul is. So you could probably say the threshold to say if you're gay or not is kissing, right? But then if you get down on your knees and you suck another guy off, that probably means you're gay. It's not a bad thing, of course. Do what you want to do. But it's weird that Ye is arguing against it and being like, oh no, but I'm not gay though. But dude, you sucked another man's dick. How can you not be gay if you sucked another man's dick? I'm saying, like, literally, like, you could, even though the other things people can still say are gay, but I'm saying you could, you know, holding hands with another guy, laying in bed side to side with another dude, hugging another dude, interlocking fingers, swapping saliva, French kissing another guy. You could argue, you could make an argument for that being part of a prank, that being a dare. Oh my god, it's a YouTube prank, we're falling around, you know. It's still a sign that you're not comfortable to admit what you really are and what you're really attracted to, which is sad, but hey, go through what you have to go through. But I find it odd that Ye is saying, even though I sucked my cousin's dick from when I was, however age, until I was 14 years old, which is a pretty, you know, old time to do it, I'm not gay. Well, just embrace it. But then there's also this thing that I've seen online with some people, which I'm not sure why this exists, but I've seen this phrase around that says a lot of men that say they're bi aren't bi. And it's like, how could, like, why does that I wonder why that's the case. I wonder why, for whatever reason, women are believed. Like, if a woman says she's bisexual, people believe that. But when the guy says they are, they're not believed. So that if you're a man and you have gay thoughts, you have to decide if you're gay or straight, which is a bigger jump. You're probably more comfortable to say, hey, I'm bisexual. You're probably happy to say that. Like, yeah, he probably might be, but he's not comfortable enough to say he's gay because that comes with too many connotations and it also sits too heavy on him. It's like, bro, you've already engaged in that stuff, you know? Anyway, whatever. And then there's another verse here that says, nitrous don't help me. It just put me in a trance. What? So they, honestly, hold on. Didn't they say the nitrous? Holy shit. If I'm not mistaken, wasn't the nitrous addiction that Ye had? I thought that was tied to his grills. Remember? Ye had these grills that he got done by this really famous Hollywood dental guy. And allegedly they said Ye got addicted to the nitrous because of the grills. So he would be ordering, like, you know, canisters, like industrial sized big ones to his house and be like getting high off that. So I thought that was that. So is he trying to say that somebody recommended nitrous based therapy to make him not gay anymore or something? Because it says nitrous don't help me, just put me in a trance. Fuck, you know, that's kind of wild. Imagine that there's a person in Hollywood running around telling guys if they want to be cured of gayness, just take loads of nitrous. Which is weird because surely if you're on loads of nitrous and you're conked out, somebody can do loads of gay stuff to you anyway. So it's probably the worst thing you want to do to kind of convince yourself or to kind of get over your gayness, because like you can also be taken advantage of on that sort of stuff. Anyway, and also nitrous ain't that fun really, to be doing it by a canister wearing a fucking Bane mask. It's not that good. It continues. I'm talking about euphoria. I'm not talking about a man. Told her don't leave me because I need you by my side. I'm guessing he's talking about his girl, his wife, Bianca. As long as you don't leave me, then I'll probably be all right. And that one time that you left me, I didn't get no sleep that night. That one time that you left me, I took 10 perks to get high. 10 perks to get high. Pray that I don't die. But if I die, see you in the sky. Oh, imagine if Kanye did die for 10 perks. 2 pints of Quay Quay. I guess that's Quaaludes, right? What's Quay Quay? I guess that's Quaaludes. Don't leave, just be. Just stay, bae. Let's go on vacay. Leave the world behind. God almighty. Crazy, crazy good. But you know what? I'm all for it. If he's being serious, if Ye's being serious, if Ye's not lying, if Ye's not attention seeking, if he actually is willing to bury soul and admit these type of things, then fair play. Because sometimes when things lay heavy on your heart, you need to get them off your chest. Even though the more apt or apropos advice would be take it to your grave, sometimes when there are things laying heavy on your chest, it's better to get it off your chest. And I think in this world, especially of celebrities and shit, especially with Ye being as controversial and as divisive and as mean and as antagonistic as he's been lately, I think he owes it to himself to get everything out in the open so that nobody can blackmail or hold anything over his head. Because he's being such a cunt lately that I can see people wanting to spite him and fuck him over by purposely holding this over his head, blackmailing him, or leaking it to press before he does. So it's good that he got in front of it and said it himself, put it in the tune. The song is banging. I think he's about to release it on DSPs. He's already added a cover to it, which I think is pretty hard as well. So it's a good thing that he's admitting what he's admitting. It's just a shame that, for me, it just has a tinge of attention seeking. It doesn't really sound sincere. It sounds like a way to get people back on his side because he was feeling a little bit lonely being on his own island, doing this whole like rage bait, you know, edgelord thing, which was really corny and lame. But if he's being sincere and he's being honest and he's bearing his soul, fair enough. I love that he's sharing it. And especially in hip hop, with it being a super machismo, homophobic type of, you know, genre and culture and shit, it's good that he's bringing this to the forefront, and hopefully people feel comfortable about speaking about this sort of stuff. But there's also a part of me that's like, there's too much sex in culture in general. We're too sexualized. Everybody's talking about fucking and they're sucking, and I'm just tired of it. I'm bored about hearing about what makes people hard, what makes them bust, what makes them horny. Like, I don't want to know. Like, keep that to yourself. Keep that to yourself and your many or one sexual partner. Like, I don't want to know about what makes you hard. I don't want to know what makes you horny. I don't want to know what makes you bust. I don't care, you know? If anything, I'm even going as far as saying that I wish we could get past this whole polyamory thing as well. I wish that we have a next phase where it's now become popular or in trend to be in a committed relationship or to just be single and doing what you're doing. But this whole like polyamory thing where you have your cake and eat it too, you can be in a relationship but also be able to fuck around all over the place, it's getting annoying because everybody isn't that freaky. I don't believe it. I don't believe people are as freaky as they're saying they're freaky. There is a niche, there is a subsect of people that are into that freak shit, that do it and go to their freak events, go to their kink events and have the fun. They've got a big community, they've got influencers, they've got YouTube channels, books people read, blah, 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 seminars they go to. But I don't believe everybody out there is as freaky as what they say they are. I don't believe it. I really don't believe it. And I'm fed up of hearing about people doing the polyamory thing, the open relationship thing. It's fucking annoying. And I would much rather people, you know, especially people that can't even hold down a relationship. It's like, bruh, you can't even hold down one relationship. You can't treat one girl right, but now you want to have three on the go. Like, why? Like, just learn how to treat one girl right. Learn how to treat a friend good. Forget a girlfriend. Learn how to treat a friend good. Be a consistent, loving, supportive, dependable, honest, you know, friend to somebody. Even a colleague. Forget a friend. Just be a good fucking work colleague first, and then we can build up to like doing fucking crazy stuff. You know what I mean? Going crazy, fucking and sucking everything, hanging off of a fucking ladder. Like, I'm fed up of the sex thing. I'm fed up of it. I'm bored of it. Like, even the porn shit, I don't even watch that anymore. Like, I'm just bored. It's just too much. Like I think I got annoyed because on Twitter, I typed in like, there you go or here you go, because I was trying to search for something. And the first thing I saw was just like full hardcore porn. Just like loads of it, just like people just getting railed and smashed and face crushed. Like, enough, man. Like why am I getting inundated with it when I just want to write there you go because I missed a tweet and I want to search for it again? I write there you go and I'm just getting inundated with fucking craziest hardcore porn I've ever seen in my life. I'm fed up. No more, please. Leave me alone. I don't want the porn anymore. I don't want to know what makes you hard, what makes you horny, what gets you off. Keep it to yourself and the person that you're with, or the many people that you're with, or in your community. But sharing all your experiences online and writing reports and essays and this and that and posting questions online. Enough. I had enough of it. Had enough. Please. Had enough. But hey, What do I know? We also got to talk about a little bit about Jeffree Star decided to pop out and say the following, which is really funny. Off the back of Ye admitting, that he sucked his cousin's dick, Jeffree Star decided to say, okay, fuck it, ... The rumors were true, tongue out emoji. And if you're wondering what Jeffree Star means, back in the day when Ye was with Kim Kardashian, there was a rumor going around that allegedly Kim and Ye may have broken up because Kim discovered or found out that Ye was playing, out of home, allegedly with guys, and one of the guys being Jeffree Star, or however Jeffree Star identifies. That's what people suggested. That was a rumor back in the day that Ye was out here laying pipe, smashing a bunch of people. I've seen some people say that Ye allegedly might have been fucking Ricardo Tisci back in the day. That's maybe why he was so connected with him. Remember when he was doing that whole thing with Jay-Z with the fucking dog shit and the skirt and all that malarkey? Allegedly they're saying that is connected, but I don't think that is true. I think the Ricardo Tisci thing is something separate. Big up Ricardo Tisci, by the way. He's a fucking G. I love that saga with him and Frank Ocean. That love affair that he had with Frank Ocean. That was like, if you were about Instagram, you know what I'm talking about. That was so fucking cool to see that play out. I think they met each other at the Grammys or something, and they ended up hooking up and shit. And Ricardo Tisci was really into Frank Ocean, but I guess Frank Ocean just treated it as a one and done type of thing. But it was kind of cool to see Ricardo Tisci bearing his soul and posting bow tie pictures, don't leave, all this shit. It was funny. If you know, you know. We got Ricardo Tisci. But I also remember seeing clips of Ricardo Tisci. I forgot what the place is. Is it Baltimore? Is it Detroit? There's a particular place in America, a particular state, where they have a particular gay pride that a lot of black guys go to. And if you're into black dudes, that's the place to go to, because all the like the hottest black guys in America all go there. I forgot what it's called, but allegedly I remember seeing posts maybe a few years ago of people saying, yeah, they bumped into Ricardo Tisci there. And he's from Italy, right? I think he might be based in Paris or somewhere. Imagine he was going to that place regularly, doing fucking, you know what I mean? That was his pilgrimage. He would fly over to the States, wherever this location is, and go to this really, like, I think it might be Detroit. This gay pride event, and because he's obviously, has a thing for the Negro males. Do I believe Jeffree Star? No. Jeffree Star's a bit of a troll. Jeffree Star's a legend when it comes to social media and internet and stuff. He knows how to jump on things. I'm sure, like, look at the views. That tweet got, 7.1 million views. I'm sure it kind of bolstered some of his kind of, sales when it comes to his makeup stuff that he puts out and shit. So I think he just jumps on it because everyone's talking about it, and that rumor did exist, and people were kind of digging through and trying to find details of when Ye mentioned his cousin, instances where people accuse Ye of being gay, So I think he just jumped on the algorithm thing, which I think is funny. But do I believe that Ye and Jeffree Star had some sort of sexual relationship? I don't believe so. Jeffree Star's so chatty. He's such a messy guy, and Ye is such a big personality, and it says such crazy things in over the years, that if that was true, it would have come out already. We would have heard about it, really. But one thing I have heard from people, and I'm not even that connected, but I've heard from people say that when Ye likes to party, sometimes boys are invited. That's something I've definitely heard through the grapevine. I remember also hearing through the grapevine that allegedly, that my favorite story to share about Ye that I've heard through the grapevine is that allegedly he's very self-conscious about his shoe size. And I think he might be actually like a US 8, but I think he always buys shoes bigger than what his shoe size is. So he might be a US 8, but he buys shoes like a US 11 because he's conscious about his shoe size, and he thinks that if he has small feet, people think he has a small dick or something. So he always buys shoes 2 sizes bigger. That's a rumor that I've heard in places. But do I believe he fucked Jeffree Star? No. I don't think Jeffree Star's being messy. So big up Jeffree Star. Also big up my guy, what's his fucking name? What's the DJ name? Momo PS5, I think, right? Big up my guy Momo PS5. Not too sure if he's changed his name to interracial sex, but it's fucking hilarious. He posted as well and said, I been knew Kanye was gay. ASAP Yams told me way back in 2014. That's crazy throwback, by the way. But it also makes sense because ASAP Yams was plugged in, knew a bunch of people, was behind the scenes, connector, all this type of shit. And, even many years after his passing, people are still remembering him fondly and kind of reminiscing on some of the cool things that he did in culture, some of the people he put together. I think that famous picture of him standing in a room somewhere wearing a Palace sweatshirt. Behind him is that girl, that shoe designer that is that always makes cool shoes, and Rihanna wears them and shit. So she was plugged in with him back in the day. So Yams always been plugged in that way. So it wouldn't surprise me if Yams knew something like this. But do I believe that Ye is like gay in the sense of like fucking guys? Probably not. Fooling around in a sex freak way, probably. But fucking guys things, I don't think so. Off the top. Yes, I know he's confessed that he sucked someone's dick when he was 14, but he didn't admit to sucking people's dick in his adult age, you know. So I think he definitely likes to fool around and get crazy when he's partying, but I don't think he goes full steam ahead with the whole like, you know, fucking and sucking in his adult age. But I could be wrong. But I think it's also just an interesting tidbit.